Hi, everybody. I'm Melinda Gallant, and I want to welcome you to another Cape Conversation. Oh my gosh, we've got a great guest today talking all about movement and not necessarily getting in shape, but making best of the shape you are in with all kinds of activities. And she's going to have a program on Sandwich Community Television. All very good stuff. So come along, let's have another Cape Conversation. Hi, everybody. I'm Melinda Gallant, and I am so excited to have with me today a wonderful person who's going to help me and help you and have her own program on Sandwich Community Television. Tiffany Hill, how are you?
Hi, nice to meet you.
So good to see you. So, Tiffany, tell me all about your new perspective.
Yes, so my business is New Perspective Fitness, and I've partnered with Sandwich Community Television, and we're going to bring a fitness channel or an hour to help people become more active, and I'm specifically catering to older adults. So I'm thinking 50
Well, you got the
plus.
well, you got the right demographic and say
That was the goal, get in with Sandwich Community Television because we have a lot of older adults watching television.
Sure, sure. So tell me, some people know, some people don't, but I just had a knee replacement.
Yes.
As I told you, I am 4 weeks out since day zero. They call this day zero is the day of your surgery. 4 weeks and 1 day out from having my surgery. And everybody says, oh, you're doing so well, but I want it to be 8 weeks out.
Oh, I know.
I have no patience. So talk to me about that. So you're in your home and you don't have a lot of patience and you go to outside PT. What do you recommend to people to do around their houses and things?
Absolutely. So first of all, it's important to know when you're out from surgery, aren't there certain limitations that are imposed on you right
Yes,
now?
yes.
Okay, so
Some.
it's important that you have that conversation with your physical therapist and you know the do's and the don'ts of physical activity. But how I differ from a physical therapist is I'm an exercise physiologist. So I'm looking at the whole body.
Gotcha.
When you go to your PT appointments, they're focusing in on your
Just
knee.
that, right.
Exactly. And where I come into play is I'm going to look at the whole body. So you would want to look at videos such as core or back that you can actually do and be successful with, but we're not doing exercises that you shouldn't be doing with your knee.
Gotcha.
I also have different levels of intensity because when you say 55 plus, that's a large demographic and people
Right.
are going to have a lot of abilities and then some people are going to have limitations.
Right.
So we've tried to cater to that by offering 3 different levels. So right now with you just getting out of knee surgery, I would ask you to look into gentle aging first. Gentle aging is our most inclusive and it's going to be seated and standing exercises, but we don't go down to the floor.
Right.
And then if you wanted to kick things up a notch, that would be active aging. Active aging is going to be a little bit more dynamic and functional moves. And we do go down to the floor for some of the exercises, right? It just varies on what I'm targeting. And then finally, we have master movers, which is the most intense level. It's level 3. And what you'll notice with that is I incorporate more tools that make you work the stabilizing muscles. So an example is in gentle aging, we do balance exercises, but I might have you holding on to a chair.
Right.
Active aging, we're doing balance exercises and a chair is optional, maybe a foam roller, which is a little bit not as stable.
Yeah.
And then master movers, we're now using a balance pad. So it's going to be a cushy surface that's going to challenge your balance more.
I see. And that's the number one thing is falls.
Absolutely.
I came out of surgery and they told me 150 times before I got in my car to go home, you cannot fall. You must not fall.
Absolutely. So I do have a lot of balance exercises that we will have on the channel. And the reason why that's important is when we look at the demographic of 65 plus. So let's look at people 65 and older. 1 out of 4 will fall in a year's time. And a fall, 20% of falls can lead to a broken bone or a head injury. And that can take away your independence, your quality of life, and your health. So not to scare you, but what can we do to empower ourselves?
Yeah,
We need
absolutely.
to be doing strength training so that your muscles are strong. When your muscles are strong, for instance, strengthening, you wouldn't think of this, but strengthening your butt muscles, strengthening your glute medius, helps stabilize your hips and stabilizes your knee. That helps you have a stronger walking gait. And if we strengthen our hip flexors, so even just seated, if you strengthen your hip flexor, that's one of the moves we do in gentle aging. When your hip flexors are stronger,
And they have me do that.
I know that's the move, yes. When you strengthen your hip,
It's not easy when you have a new knee,
it's not.
as it weighs a lot.
But just be very patient with yourself, because that's what we want you to do. But be patient, and when your hip flexor is strong, then you're able to lift your leg and clear that step and clear that curve so that you're not tripping.
Well, and that's one of the things that is always surprising to me is, and everybody makes fun of old people, right? We all make fun of old people, and I'm up there now. But, you look at Joe Biden, God love him. I mean, he was riding a bike up until he was 80, and now he's older and he's not riding a bike anymore. He kind of shuffles along,
Right.
and that's what happens when you get old. But people who don't seem old at 82 or 83 are because they're picking their feet up. I have a sister who is 87 years old. If you saw her, you'd never believe it. She's a dancer, not not like a ballet dancer, but she dances ballroom dancing with her boyfriend. And she's 87, and they go out 3 times a week ballroom dancing where they live. Well, again, you would never know that she was 87 years old, ever, ever, ever. But I think it's because it's moving and it's all about motion, right?
Absolutely. So like an easy statement is, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Right.
And you can always regain strength. And unless you have a severe, like let's say a rod,
Yeah, right.
in your spine, you can always gain mobility and flexibility, and you can get stronger.
Right.
The reality is you just have to show up. Some people will say, what's the best form of exercise? I had one client, he said, I want to do kettlebell training. I was like, kettlebell? You know what a kettlebell is? Yeah, with a little handle.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I thought, that is not a good choice for you. He had balance issues. He was older. He had severe back pain. And it requires way too many stabilizing.
Kettlebell would kill your back.
And I said, why do you want to do kettlebell training? He said, oh, I read an article in a magazine that it was the best form of training. I said, not for you. So what is the best form when you're thinking about it's
Right.
what can you be consistent with?
Right. Right.
What can you be consistent with?
Right.
And I know that I have something for everyone, but you have to find what level you're at.
Sure.
And you want to be able to be successful when you exercise, and you don't want to go too hard, because something that can happen when you exercise, especially strength training, is you can get that delayed onset muscle soreness.
Yeah.
And if you lift too heavy, if you go too hard,
Right.
during the movement, you're going to feel really strong.
Right.
And then that hits 12 to 24 hours later.
Right.
So when you're starting exercise, if you haven't been doing a lot, always be very conservative.
Right.
And then if that felt easy and a day or two later you feel good, then you know you can increase the weights.
Sure. So what brought you to this?
Sure. Well,
Well, first of all, you live here on Cape Cod, but you're not from here.
Exactly. I am from Iowa, and I went to the University of Iowa, and I studied health promotion.
Now, where did you grow up in Iowa?
Lorenz, Iowa, like a little podunk, like
Yeah.
small town. I think it's like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And
Did you grow up on a farm?
no, downtown girl. And our interesting fact, where we live, it was actually an old bank. So we have 3 different vaults that we use as closets.
Oh
So,
my gosh, how
it's
funny.
super fun. Yeah, my sister actually, when she was a little child, I don't know how she did it, but she closed the vault door, and we had to get an elder in the town who like knew the code, because no one could open it.
Me.
Right? No, like crazy.
My gosh.
Yeah. But grew up in Iowa. My dad was a Hawkeye, so I went to the University of Iowa.
Yeah.
And I learned about a new major that they were offering, and it was called health promotion. I thought that sounded really interesting, because I was maybe going to go into nursing, but I didn't know if I really wanted to work in a hospital setting with sick people. So my advisor said, well, we're rolling out a new program, and it's health promotion, and you work on the preventative side of care.
So did you have to take kinesiology and all of that?
So yeah, you take all of that. It's you have to take chemistries, which I'm not using. But yes, you take kinesiology, you take human anatomy, you take all that. But most important is you actually are learning how to motivate people. You take sports psychology
Oh,
and different classes like that. And then I started working in corporate fitness. I was an intern, and they said, "Hey,"
in Iowa?
in Iowa, yeah, it was at Rockwell Collins. I think they've changed the name since then, because this was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And they said, "Hey, we'd like to hire you, but we need you to run the senior health and fitness program in Silver Sneakers." Silver Sneakers
I know
was
what Silver
rolling out at that
Yeah.
time. Yeah. So basically, if you have, at that point it was Humana. I know it's different depending on the region, but in Iowa, if you had Humana, you could get a free gym membership through your insurance.
Right.
And then you had to teach specific classes. They didn't have anybody running that program.
Wow.
So as a 20-year-old, they're like, "You will run this."
So you started working with seniors?
Immediately.
Oh my
And I hadn't had any experience besides, like chilling with my grandparents,
Right.
but I am that type of person. I'm like, yes, and okay, let's go. And I hadn't even taught group exercise classes, but I do have a background in music. I played the trap set, so I was like, all right, I know the 8-count beat. I was on the drill team. So I did okay with that. And it was the best experience of my life. And then I just made that my life mission to work with.
So how did you get from Iowa to Cape Cod?
Yes, so
And I know you met somebody along the way.
I met my husband at the University of Iowa, and he's Brooklyn born and raised.
Yeah.
And they also have a second home on the Cape. And so that's the tie there. So I met Brian. I was working for 6 years, and I wanted to get my master's. And I was like, I think I'm going to look on the East Coast, because I wanted to be close to his parents just to meet them. The whole plan was to move back to Iowa.
Right.
And, that did not happen. So I ended up getting my master in sports nutrition, and it's in exercise physiology. So that's what my master's is in. And I had an idea of maybe working in cardiac rehab, and I started my own business to put myself through grad school.
Mhm.
And
Where'd you go to grad school?
Long Island University in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. So you were in Brooklyn for a while.
Exactly. Yep, we lived in Brooklyn, and then I started my own business to kind of put myself through grad school, because I thought this would be a good compliment, because then I can really prioritize my classes.
That makes sense.
Absolutely. And it just took off.
Wow.
And so I thought, all right, here we go. And then when COVID hit, I thought, this is it for us. We came to the Cape to kind of get away from the city. That was absolute chaos. And within 2 days, clients were calling me, and they're like, all right, so what's the game plan? Are we using FaceTime? Are we getting on Zoom, Skype? What do you want to do? I did not even need to bring my business online. They were knocking down my door.
Well, how did they hear about you?
Well, no, they were already working with me in person.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so people were working with me in person. And then people that didn't have a trainer, they couldn't go to a gym.
Right.
It was just word of mouth.
Oh,
and so
wow.
there are people I have never met in person that I train online.
Oh
I
my
have
gosh.
people in Maryland, Virginia, Georgia,
No
all over
way.
just through word of mouth, because
That's
I'm no
great.
longer limited on who I can work with.
Right. Well, see, I never thought about that. But of course, over Zoom, you can do anything.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's wonderful. Good for you. And through all of this, you had 2 kids to boot.
Yes. So I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son.
Excellent. Excellent. And they are here on the Cape going to school.
Absolutely. So we live here on the Cape full time now.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you're going to bring your show to the CAL, or the Center for Active Living, here in Sandwich. It'll be during the day, I assume.
Yeah, we're thinking around the 10 o'clock time slot is where we'll be showing.
So they can come there and do the lessons there, or they could do them at home.
Absolutely. So you can just tune into Sandwich Community Television to get the workout. And then also, if you want to watch it on demand, you could go to YouTube, to New Perspective Fitness YouTube channel.
Oh my gosh, you have your own YouTube channel.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're more of a businesswoman too.
And then if you want to know the equipment that I'm using, if I say, stability ball or Pilates ball, you can use any tool. So you could get that from, TJ Maxx,
Yeah.
any of the big stores. But if you want to know the specific equipment that I'm using, when you go to the YouTube channel, in the description box, we always list the equipment and a specific link.
I see.
So you can just see what it is I'm using.
Yeah.
But you do not have to use that. You can
Makes
use
sense.
any dumbbell, any resistance band.
Oh, that's wonderful. Excellent. So, once again, the name of the company is,
New Perspective Fitness.
and you're going to have a TV show on Sandwich Community Television,
Yes.
which will be shown at the Cal and also available at home.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. So now, what if I'm there and but I want a little extra work? Can I contact you and become one of your clients? And
Sure, absolutely. If you are interested in, or if you just have questions,
Yeah.
maybe, you just simply have a question, you can
Right.
just contact me through my YouTube channel. You're going to see my email address on there. And I had a woman the other day from the Philippines.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she's like, I'm, in my 70s and I'm 2 years out from a car accident and I had a neck mobility routine. And she said, she was just on YouTube and she typed in neck mobility and I popped up.
Oh, wonderful.
So I thought that was so cool. So yeah, if you just want to have a conversation with me, even through the YouTube channel on a specific video, if you have a question, just let me know. And I'm always checking that. I get notifications.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's excellent. Well, so where do you see this going? I mean, here you are now. You're in Sandwich, Mass. You have clients around the East Coast, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I just thought it would be fun to bring something to community. It's always good to give back.
Yeah.
And who knows what opportunities this will bring. Also, if anybody is interested and if they want to be in any of the videos, they can just contact the Sandwich Community television station or even contact me on my YouTube channel. So if you're here on the Cape and if you want to do a video,
like behind you, you're there, and they
video with me. I thought
Oh,
that would be
wonderful.
really fun.
Oh, that would
And
be.
I think that would be amazing because sometimes, it's one thing for me to do videos, but to see someone that looks like you,
Right.
seniors in the video, I think that would be an awesome touch. Now I'm going to drag my parents. They're going to come visit me soon. I'm going to have my mom and dad in the videos, but to have, just residents on the Cape to be in the videos too, I would love that. So that's one way I would like to
Sure.
connect with the community.
Oh, that would be terrific, I think. So would you do that here in the studio, or?
Yeah, I'm open to doing it here in the studio, or if we want to maybe do something at the Cal, I'm open to whatever opportunities come my way.
Oh, excellent. That's terrific. Well, when I'm 8 weeks out, which then
Full clearance?
well, full clearance, which I hope will be 12 weeks out. My problem right now is, to be honest with you, is I can't drive because it's my left leg. Now, when no, it's my right leg. When it was my left leg, I drove it 2 weeks because you're not doing the pedal. So my husband said, "Well, I wanted to drive last weekend." And he says, "Okay, get in your car and let's." Okay, he says, "All right." It was stationary. Turn the car on, and he goes, "Okay, press down the pedal." Well, it's just I can't do it. And then he goes, "All right, lift your leg up and put it over on the brake." And I said, "Well, I can always brake with my left." He goes, "No, you can't. You can't do that." So that's where I am at the moment. So it's all of, as you said, it's all this stuff is what I
Absolutely,
have
and
to
it's
do.
really frustrating when you lose your independence, but this is a proper step in the right direction. So
Right.
take these 8 weeks and you'll be back stronger than ever.
I know. Well, I'm going to drive all my friends crazy. Besides my husband, I now call him very affectionately my manservant, because my manservant's coming to pick me up. You know, but the problem is I don't like to be stationary, to be honest.
Oh,
I like doing
it is
moving around.
It's extremely frustrating, and really this is a testament to how active you want to be
Yeah.
and doing all the things that you can to stay as healthy
Right.
as you can be.
Right, right. Well, and again, I'm very fortunate I'm going to Spalding. There are many great physical therapy places around. I happen to be going to Spalding, which I personally like very much, because they're so professional and I get the feeling that they really care. They want me to move along. In other words, they don't want me there forever,
Right.
by any means.
Yes. And you need people to push you when you're in a state of injury and offer you that proper guidance.
Right, right.
What is safe and what is not safe.
Right. So I'm sure that even in what you do, you have to be the same way.
Absolutely. When I think about why people choose to work with me, There's two main reasons. One, it's accountability.
Yeah.
And then two, it's also safety, because when you work with the older adults, I have all these conditions that I need to work around. It might be rheumatoid arthritis, it might be osteoarthritis of the knees. And with that condition, you could be doing all the right things and you have knee pain. So the question is this move safe for you to do?
Sure, sure.
And I'm trying to think of all the videos that I put together with gentle aging. You cannot go wrong. It is
Right.
absolutely safe. Now, I am going to say someone that's coming out of an injury, or whether it be hip surgery or knee, you do have restrictions.
Yeah.
So when I was working with my client that had hip surgery, she had a small period of time where she had to watch internal rotation of the hip. So that's this is external and this is internal rotation. And she couldn't do internal rotation of the hip just for a few weeks. So you need to know your limitations.
Right.
And one thing when I make the videos is, not only am I an exercise physiologist, I'm a health educator. So you're going to get that education. So I will say, we're now working internal rotation of the hip. And oh, I can't do that.
Right.
So you need to know your restrictions. But if you're healthy, if you are not out of surgery and you seriously are just dealing with osteoarthritis, or if you have aches and pains, you can do my videos and know that they are safe for you to move
Well,
through.
the whole thing is they say motion is lotion. To your
Absolutely. I actually have never heard that, but I love that.
Yeah,
So
that's
when we move our joints through
right.
a full range of motion, or even the range of motion that's pain-free, it increases synovial fluid. That's the lubrication to your
Right,
joint.
right.
We need to move to feel better. And that's the whole reason why we need to be exercising. If you have pain, we want to increase blood flow. We also want our muscles to be stronger, so they're stabilizing the
Right.
meat that's inflamed and cranky. And so any type of movement is great.
Well, I'm learning about movement a lot now. Again, what's funny though is that I had this one done 2.5 years ago, right? It's so funny. I don't remember pain. I don't remember any of it. And this one I'm going, oh, there's a lot of it hurts.
Yes.
Um, although two funny stories. 2.5 months after I'd had this surgery, I got in a car and drove to Ohio, that's where I'm from, for a girls' weekend, right?
Fun.
Yeah, it was great, except I went to visit my nephew and his family, and he didn't tell me who has sunken living rooms anymore. Nobody.
Oh,
And I went,
yeah.
I stepped off into the abyss.
Yes.
So
That is so jarring.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I called it was on a Sunday, so on Monday morning, on my way back in the car, I was with a friend of mine who went with me out there, and I called, and they said, "Oh, no, if you're fine, you'll be fine, I'm sure, but we'll have you come in." So I did have to go back in to have them take an X-ray to make sure everything was in the same place. But the other thing I did was, the same year, I had never done have you ever done the float down the creek?
No.
Okay, well, you need to get a big float with the kids who would love it. And you go to the boardwalk, right? You go to the other side and you float as the tide is coming in. So you wait till the tide's starting to come in and so it'll hold you. And you get a giant raft or a big float thing. I'd never done that. And two friends invited me. And so they gave me one that was a giant pineapple with a big head thing, which was very funny because the wind picked it up and blew me like 10 miles an hour down the
So even faster than you wanted to go. Yeah.
but that said, as I got over to the side to get out, there was a lot of other things that happened. I stepped out of it and I went into the muck of the marsh and went clear up to my knees. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to pull my leg joint out. The good news is there were a couple of young gentlemen there who, as I looked at them, said, well, this is good. And they got me up and out, which was great. But, you don't think about those things, you just kinda keep going and doing them. But I suppose we should think about those things, what
Oh,
happened.
absolutely. The whole reason why we exercise is so that activities of daily living, or these weird
The knee.
yeah, what happens, you want to be strong and be able to handle
Right.
those, you know?
Right. Well, I fell in my utility room over my vacuum cleaner into a pile of clothes, and I had the hardest time getting up.
Absolutely.
because I didn't know, I now know how I should have gotten up.
Right. And so I want to encourage people, if you don't have a actual limitation that was truly imposed on you by a physical therapist or a doctor, if you just say, oh, but it's hard, I don't like to get down
Yeah.
on the floor, you need to get over that. Because if you're living on your own, you need to be able to get down onto the floor and up. And I don't care if it takes you longer or if you need to use a chair or a wall to help yourself get down and up. You need to be doing that action. It's good for your hips, it's good for your knees, and you're strengthening your muscles. It's good for your ankle mobility.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, you know it all, kiddo. And you're so much fun. So,
Thank you.
I'm gonna look forward to watching the videos, and when I get up and ready, I'll be one of the people behind you.
I love that. I love that. I'm going to hold you to that.
All right, all right. Well, I'm not a skinny person, but I figure, even us non-skinny people have to occasionally get out there.
Skinny has nothing to do with like being able to move and be
Right.
mobile. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, thank you so much, Tiffany.
Absolutely.
It's a
Thank you.
pleasure meeting you, and great success.
All right. Thanks so much.
Tiffany Hill, oh my gosh, she is so wonderful. What a wonderful person to help you with all your movement and to show you that motion is lotion for all these crazy joints. And she's going to have a program on at 10 a.m. Monday through Friday on SCTV. So tune in and take a look. I want to thank you for being here today, and we'll see you next time on another Cape Conversations.